winning a division title, yet getting bumped out by the Dodgers in 4 games in the NLCS. Is that the highest the bar is set for the Milwaukee Brewers?
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Good to have you along. Chuck Freimund, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin, proud host of Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Coming up on the show today, short of expectations, in my opinion, but the organization of just getting to the NLCS. Matt Arnold gets a new title. Silver Slugger nominations are out. And we'll look at the outfield going into the offseason. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers, you bet $5, you win it. $300 in bonus bets gets added to your account with FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app today at FanDuel.com. Disappointing ending for me. But in the days after this, it's been a week. Maybe this is where the organization feels this is as far as it can go. When Mark Attanasio gave those comments about the summer of entertainment, is it my goal to win a World Series, to provide a summer of entertainment for the fans? Of course, he's the big winner in all this because a lot of sellouts this year, right? A lot of entertaining team. But I'm wondering if this is what the organization feels. Well, as long as we win a division title, getting the nice best record in baseball, that's nice. As long as we keep winning, getting people to come into our gates. Yeah, we beat the Dodgers 6-0 during the regular season, but you didn't really think we were going to beat them in the postseason. I feel like, I don't know, that they're good with this. Like a mid-major team that makes the NCAA tournament as a 12th seed, and if they get bumped out, hey, at least we made the big dance. We won our conference championship, and here we are. Anything else is gravy. I like Cal Raleigh's statements the other day. The Seattle Mariner, who had 60 home runs on the season, when asked after Game 7, after his team lost Tuesday to Toronto about the season, he said, it's a disappointment. It is a failure. The fact that we did not get to go to the World Series, our expectations were to go to the World Series, and it's a failure. Not one person did I ever hear say from that organization since that game ended on Friday night that this was a failure. It was a failure. Yeah, I feel like you win 97 games, you should go to the postseason. Or is it because we're in Milwaukee that we feel like, well, this is it? Hey, we pushed it. We're Miami of Ohio. We got to the NCAA tournament. We're Buffalo. We're UW Milwaukee. We got to the NCAA tournament, and this is as far as it gets right here. If we win a game, great. If not, oh well. Like I said, the locker room was not all that down after that game. I've seen bigger disappointments in regular season losses for these guys than after that season came to an end. I don't know. Was it a feeling that, hey, we weren't going to win this series anyway? I don't know. That was not my impression going in. And some people are going to say, well, Chuck, you're going a little too far on that. I don't know. I wish we had some more Cal Raleigh. Well, I wish we had Cal Raleigh on this team, but more of this type of attitude. This was a complete failure. I would have loved to seen Christian Yelich after Game 4. Couldn't even get to Game 7. Game 4. This was a complete failure. Instead of saying the old, well, this is baseball. This is the way it works. You win some and lose some. I don't want to hear that. I would like to see like a table thrown across the wall. Well, maybe that's a little more much. I don't want him to go all Billy Martin on us. But to say, this is not the expectations. He did say, I do feel one day that's going to be us out there, and pointing toward the field at Dodger Stadium where the Dodgers were celebrating. I do feel that's going to be us out there. But I don't know. Is it? I thought this was good. Why couldn't this be the team? Why? I'd feel better about it if they didn't go out so meekly. And yeah, 1 week later, it still sticks in my craw and people are still talking. I still get questions. I was out and about on Thursday and people said, Chuck, what happened? That's the question. What happened? Now, if the Brewers, like in 2018, they went down fighting in a 7-game series with the Dodgers, right? Game 6 against St. Louis in 2011. They went down fighting in that series. And I don't want to hear, well, the Cubs series. Well, at least we beat the Cubs. No, that's not good enough. Not good enough. That's my expectations. I feel you have a great season like this. You win as many games as you did this year. That's your expectations. Get to the World Series. You have the best record in baseball. You shouldn't get swept in the postseason. And yeah, I get some of that. That's baseball. And the Dodgers, yes. But I don't know. I hope the organization, I hope I'm wrong on that, but winning division titles and getting bumped out, well, they won a postseason series this year, but getting bumped out in the playoffs short of the World Series, not good enough for me, and it should not be good enough for you fans. Again, Seattle's never gone to the World Series, but the Brewers only have one more World Series appearance than them, and they lost that. And this team and this franchise right now and the ownership has nothing to do with what happened in 1982, right? But 43 years and another season of falling short. 3 times they've been to the championship series since then, 2011, 2018, 2025. Great. You could throw me all those regular season accolades out forever. But I don't know what it's going to take. Salary cap, I don't know. I thought salary cap or no salary cap, the mid-major Milwaukee Brewers weren't playing like that all season long. Okay? And to go down so meekly like that without much of a fight, at least the Mariners went out with a fight with the Blue Jays, right? He won the first 2 games in Toronto, won game 5 to send it back to Toronto, won game 6 to even things up, and then Toronto won game 7 on the Springer home run. But I want to see more of that. This season was a failure. Yeah. This season, there was nobody that said this on the Brewers. Not even close. This season was a failure. I don't know, a couple years ago, or no, who was that? Oh, Contreras said that in that article that after he lost 2 years ago in the playoffs, his first year here, he said there was one guy who was walking out saying, oh, it's fishing season. And Contreras, I did not see him or interview him after game 7, and maybe he felt, or game 4 the other night, maybe he felt this way, but I don't know. But Contreras said, hey, after we lost in 2023, it was not a sad clubhouse. And I think 2025 was kind of the same way. I don't know. I'm disappointment. I again, you lose in 4 straight games. It's a week later, but still, it was a failure. Yeah, you beat the Cubs, but I'm not good with just winning division title. Winning 14 in a row during the regular season. This team just run out of gas. You play so hard in the regular season. I'm not saying they didn't play hard against the Dodgers, but we saw things show up in that series like we didn't see show up all year. Falling short of getting to the World Series should never be accepted. It's a disappointment. And congratulations out to Cal Raleigh being a leader on his team and saying, this is not good enough. Our expectations are going to the World Series. Instead of saying, well, one day that's going to be us out there. Well, you know what? They've made the playoffs 7 of the last 8 years. It should be one day. What are we waiting for? Oh, and those postseason awards are already rolling in. You know how I feel about those postseason awards. First of all, general manager Matt Arnold. And Matt Arnold has done a nice job. 3 straight division titles in a financial world in baseball that is stacked against his franchise. He keeps himself 1 step ahead of St. Louis, 1 step ahead of the Cubs, who act like a small market at times, and he's been staying ahead of Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. And we never have to worry about the Pirates. But pretty consistent. 10 years under Arnold. The 5th best record in his 10 years. He's got the 5th best record in Major League Baseball. Yet only, in his 10 years with the organization, I should say, they've been the 5th, and some of that was as an assistant to the previous GM. 10 years, 5th best record in Major League Baseball. And yeah, the record is pretty. 7 postseasons appearance, and he got a bump up in titles. David Stearns. How did I forget? He's got his own issues with the Mets these days. Matt Arnold, president of baseball operations, upped his title from GM to president of baseball operations. I don't care about the title. President of baseball operations and GM. What changes? Nothing changes. Nothing changes in what he does. He's got control of the baseball operations. He always does. But the final call is Mark Attanasio. There's no way Matt Arnold can walk into the office of Attanasio when he's in town, say, all right, I'm going to trade Christian Yelich to Los Angeles. Mark Attanasio's will put a no on that, because Mark Attanasio's guy is Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich, for those of you wondering if he's going to get traded in the offseason, will never happen. That is Attanasio's guy. If there's one guy in this team, Christian Yelich is his guy on this team, for a lack of better terms. So, but that's just an example. Matt Arnold cannot make any move without telling the owner, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign Jose Quintana. You think we can spend $4 million on a guy that nobody wants right now? Sure, go ahead. I want to spend $500 billion on Soho. Can we do it? Attanasio is going to look at him like he's got 2 heads. Attanasio is going to have $18 million dropped off the salary books. Well, $14 million, because there's going to be a $4 million buyout with Rhys Hoskins. So Matt Arnold, he's done a great job, but the promotion and job title, that doesn't do anything for me. That doesn't say anything to you guys as fans. GM to president of baseball operations and GM. I don't know. Gets a pay raise probably with the job title. Maybe an assurance that he wanted, that some of these guys wanted. And didn't Stearns get a promotion in title too when he was here? I think it's just a bump up in title, just in case the New York Mets of the world come calling. And obviously, Arnold had a final year of his contract coming up. Pat Murphy has another year of his deal coming up. And that's the guy they're going to have to extend. Now, I'm assuming Murphy, who's, mid-60s, still wants to manage, right? He looks like he enjoys it and having fun at it. And of course, 2 for 2 now on Manager of the Year awards with the Sporting News. Of course we want Murphy back. Absolutely. And he deserves, if Craig Counsell's making $8 million, what does Pat Murphy deserve? Right? Pat Murphy's got to be one of the cheaper buys out there as far as managers. And again, I'm not here to be his agent, but Pat Murphy, God, if some of these other guys are making 5, 6, 7, 8 times what Murphy is making, does Murphy have any bargaining tool though? There's nobody really coming after him, or right? And maybe because, he's toward the end of his years at becoming a manager, he's got to be thinking this though. Maybe other GMs feel the same way. Why wasn't this guy a manager a long time ago? But maybe it took a lot of learning, being a college coach, bench coach, and that to get to the point where he is right now. Because he said, and he was asked, the other day about becoming a manager out of college. And he said, well, I could have never done that. I could have never jumped from the college level to the pros like the guy in San Francisco has just done. But Murphy, he's terrific. He should be able to stay here as long as he wants. I don't know. Never been a full-time manager before and win manager of the year 2 years in a row, despite what happened in the postseason. But again, you know how I feel about these postseason awards. They don't do much for me. We're going to take a quick break and come right back. I see I passed my time. I rambled on so long here. We'll come right back after this. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers. Ruggied, a proud sponsor here of Locked On Brewers. Let's be real, making excuses doesn't solve anything. Exactly. We've heard them all before. Ruggied offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to make you stop making excuses and start making the moves. Ruggied makes it easy to get started. Connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments, and you'll get prescribed treatment ships discreetly right to your door. Process is fast, simple, and private. Visit Ruggied, RUGIET.com/LockedOnMLB, and you'll get 15% off your first order. Ruggied, RUGIET.com/LockedOnMLB. And don't forget to use the promo code LockedOnMLB so they know when they're going to send you the stuff that they're going to give you the $15 discount. Stop making excuses. Ruggied will help you start making the moves. Making excuses don't solve anything. Let's be real. Start with Ruggied. RUGIET.com/LockedOnMLB, 15% off your first order with Ruggied. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers, part of the podcast where I say, hey, if you're joining us for the first time, thank you, thank you, thank you. Our podcasts are heard on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download audio podcasts. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because of you great Brewer fans out there. And if you're already listening to us on the audio platforms, go to our growing YouTube page, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That alerts you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. The local chapter of the Baseball Writers Association of America. I'm not part of that, even though I cover the team. It's the baseball writers, but they vote on this. You know, the Kurt Hogues, Todd Rosiaks, Adam McCalvies, who travel with the team. And I think they got this right, obviously. The postseason awards, Terang MVP of the team. I think we're all on board with that. Freddie Peralta, MVP pitcher. Priester, top newcomer. Absolutely. Unsung hero, Ashby. I might have leaned a little bit toward Nick Collins, even though he slumped off at the end of the season. Good guy award, Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich. Oh, Christian, where were you in the postseason? So those are those awards. Sporting News came out with their postseason awards. Murphy, Manager of the Year. Arnold, GM of the Year. I wish, as I always say, the postseason should be a part of these awards, right? Why not? I feel like just because you put up a pretty regular season, the postseason is what counts in my book. And this is done in all sports. The voting is done at the end of the regular season, right? And we'll find out coming up soon, a little bit later on when the postseason ends in baseball, who the MVPs are and all that. Great. But I think the regular season and the postseason should be combined. If you light it up in the postseason, or if you go in the tank in the postseason, that should factor in on the MVP voting and all that other stuff. That's my pick. I think postseason, because that's when the light's shining brightest. That's what we want to know, right? Great. If you bat 350 during the regular season, but you go 1 for 20 in the postseason, don't be telling me you're the MVP. Yeah, that's it. So those are the postseason awards. Manager of the Award, Murphy, Arnold, GM of the Year. And of course, when the Major League Baseball awards come out pretty soon, like I said last year with Murphy should win Manager of the Year unanimously. And whoever doesn't vote for Murphy unanimously as the Manager of the Year, or Arnold, GM of the Year, should probably have his voting rights taken away, because you don't watch baseball. Really, you're probably out on the golf course every day, just maybe glancing at the internet once in a while. but you're a fool if you do not vote for these two guys unanimously as manager, executive of the year. Arnold, executive of the year, Murphy, right? I mean, anybody who knows baseball and job these guys do, working against the system as well, we always got to factor that in. I don't know. You win 97 games for the team that was picked to win 80. To me, your GM and your manager should be manager of the year and executive of the year. But like I said, what counts most is what you do in the postseason. But until that's factored in, all right, we're going to go to the outfield. Talk a little bit about the outfield situation next here on Locked On Brewers. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason. NFL, I mean, all the sports are here right now. The NFL, college football is nearly every day. College basketball starting soon. Of course, the World Series coming up on Friday night. And right now, new customers, you bet $5, $300 in bonus bets if you win. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. What are you waiting for? Go to FanDuel.com, download the app today at FanDuel, and get started, and you'll see how easy it is. And you're really going to love their live betting. Their live betting. Maybe on a Saturday, you see a team that you've been following all season long that's a top 10 team, and they're down a little bit. Well, the odds are going to be a little bit better in your favor. You think they're going to make a comeback. And FanDuel.com makes it all easy for you to do that. FanDuel.com. NFL season is here. Go down that road. Bet $5, $300 in bonus bets if you win with FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. All right. I'm going to go through some of these outfielders a little bit, just a couple of them. Churio, I think he took the next step this year. He batted 21 home runs, 270, 35 doubles, 121 Ks is a lot. I'd like to see him reduce that a little bit. But here's a quick thumbnail sketching all these guys. Churio, I think he improved from year 1 to year 2. Christian Yelich played in 150 games. Maybe he played too much. 34 years old. 200, batted 264, 29 home runs, 103 RBIs. Great stats. Number of big hits for the team. 167 strikeouts, though. My goodness. Woo! Up for a Silver Slugger Award. Did nothing in the postseason. I'm not here to rail on Yelich. But should we just start calling him Mr. Summer? Because he's been pretty good in the summer at times. But then when October, he's not exactly been Reggie Jackson in October. We'll talk more about Yelich in shows to come. Garrett Mitchell, I'm not counting on anything with that guy because he can't stay healthy. Sal Frelick, thought he took another step toward his elevation. Another guy I want here long-term. Played in 142 games, 12 home runs. Power numbers jumped up 288. Guy is fast. He plays hard, plays gold glove defense, up for a gold glove. Sal Frelick is amazing. I love Sal Frelick. Collins, I talked about the slumping off. Played in 130 games for these guys. 263, 9 home runs. Some big moments. Big moments. I don't know. He slumped off after he got back from paternity leave. Coincidence? I don't know. Just came back, and I don't know if he lost his groove a little bit from the days he was away. But, man, he just wasn't the same guy offensively or defensively. But I think, and Collins was asked this at the press conference yesterday. I was at with Murphy and Arnold. And, it sounded to me Collins is going to have to find his way into the starting lineup. He's going to have to outplay a few people. He was a starter for much of the year in left field. Rookie of the year candidate, but fell out of favor toward the end of the season and into September. Lockridge organization loves him, especially on the base paths. Saw a little bit of him and what he could do with his base running skills. Only had 46 at bats, but we'll see what part Lockridge plays on this team. Perkins only played in 51 games. Seems like Perkins was in the lineup every day, right? He spent some time down in the minors, was hurt at the beginning of the season. But Perkins, when he got back off the injury, the shin injury, sure played a lot. It was a tibia injury. Sure played a lot. But he didn't have a very good year, I thought. 226, 3 home runs. Great defensively. But a fourth outfielder. I feel like when Perkins, I feel plays a little bit too much on this team. I mean, when I go to get to the game, left-hander on the mound. Perkins is in there. I think they need to run Perkins out. And I know Pat Murphy loves Perkins. Another guy. Pat Murphy loves Blake Perkins. Despite his 226, 3 home runs, he's going to keep running him out here. Perkins is his guy. But he's 4th or 5th outfielder, right? Again, we're trying to win World Series titles here. A couple of off-season notes. As far as injuries, Contreras, I'm not sure if you saw the report. Of course, he was playing with that fractured middle finger. He is going to have a corrective procedure done. Probably should have had it done during the season, but then we wouldn't have had him for the season. But corrective procedure, we'll see how that goes. But he's supposed to see a hand specialist and to see if he's going to have a procedure done on that hand or not. Connor Thomas is going free agency. Of course, he had the UCL injury. Durbin is going to have elbow surgery, arthroscopic surgery, to clean some things up in his elbow. Should be okay for 2026 for spring training. But Durbin, that was some news that didn't know about the elbow. He was having issues with the elbow toward the end of the season. Going to have some things cleaned up in there. Not a big deal. Athletes have that done all the time. All right, that's going to do it. We'll see you guys on Monday, everybody. Have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy the football. Appreciate you guys always for being a part of this. This podcast would not be the #1 podcast on the internet for Brewers baseball, with the exception because of you guys. That's the reason why it is. You everydayers who make this the #1 podcast on the internet for Brewers baseball. My name is Chuck Freimund. Thanks for joining us on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.